So now let's talk a little bit about output. So we can output to the screen using standard output devices. And those are going to be like your monitor. And more specifically in this class, we're going to be using the terminal window. So this is how it looks pretty standard to output to standard output devices. We're going to use the standard cout operator, and we're going to use the stream insertion operator to put both expressions and manipulators into the cout. We're going to talk about expressions today, and later on we'll talk about manipulators. So what is this little thing? That's the stream insertion operator. And that's going to insert to the output stream. And that means we can take things like 3, insert it into the output stream, and then an end line, which brings our cursor to the next line on the output stream. And that will just output a 3 to the screen. Or we could make an integer called x, put 2 in it, and then here we can put the variable x there, and that would put a 2 into here, place a 2 into the output stream, and then place an end line into the output stream, outputting a 2 on its own line on the terminal. We can also put, say, a string in there. And in this case, we don't need to use end line because we can use the character \n. And the reason why \n is a character is because we don't have a nice way to represent end line with just a single character like we would say if we wanted a. We don't have that for a new line, so we need to use either something like end line or \n. And you can see that here. So we want to output hi, hello, and we need to output this new line here. So how can we do that? We can do that using either the \n or the end line. Both of those will accomplish the same. And you may ask me, hey, why would you want to choose one over the other? Well, let's look at this example. In this example, we want to, just as before, output hi, hello, just like this. So we can't easily put a new line right here. What are our options? We could sit here and say cout hello with a space right here, end line, which would bring us to the new line, and then we could cout hi, and then, well, I guess you wouldn't need this space here since it's going to a new line. And then we could put out another end line, which would put this on its own line, this on its own line, and then continue from the next line. Or we could clean that up so much by just outputting the string with new line characters here. So we can just put in \n there, but we would also want to put one there so it would not do something like hello, hi, and then start taking input from that same line. And these are a couple different things that you can use that / operator on that will give you different things that we can't represent on the keyboard easily. So \n will give you a new line. We've already talked about that. T will give us a tab. That's what, 4 spaces on the keyboard. B will give us a backspace. That means it will back up the cursor one way. R is a return, so that means that you're hitting enter. Single quote is going to be a single quote printed, which means if you are outputting, say you want to output just this, you can't do this, because when this is the opener, when it hits this, it will close, and you'll get a syntax error because you have an extra one there. So how do we fix that? We say, I want to output the character of that. So then it will come in, go, all right, we're starting a character. Oh, I see backslash. The next thing that I see is going to represent a character. Okay, I want that character, the single quote, and then we're going to close our statement. And then the same logic applies for the double quote. So now let's switch over to the computer and just look a little bit at some output. So we could do something like cout 1 end line. And let's just take away that end line for right now. See what happens. So let's compile our program. And you see how the screen's cluttered? We can use clear, and it will clear all that old stuff from before away. And then we can use /a.out to run our program. And as you see, it outputs our 1, but then it starts on the same line as our output from the program. How do we fix that? We fix that simply by putting in an end line. So when we go back and recompile our program, and then wait, and then run our program, we get it to output the 1 that we want, and then start the command line again from a new line. So we can also do something like hello, and we can compile that and wait, and then run that, and we'll get hello. But we don't need to put this end line there, as talked about. We can put in a \n, which will help us out tremendously, because that cleans up our code when we have a string that we're outputting, because we can get the same result with less garbage in our code. And we can also do stuff like 1 + 2. And really, you can put any expression in there, and it will be able to evaluate. And it will evaluate the expression. It will not output the expression. You could put variables there, like int x equals 1 + 2. And then we could cout x and compile that and run it after a minute. And we'll get 3. And that's pretty much everything to do with outputting using cout.